Court is now in session for the trial of Mr. Will Powers. The prosecution is ready, Your Honor. The defense is ready, Your Honor. Today will be the final day of this trial. I hope both the prosecution and the defense will be able to present decisive evidence. Very well, Mr. Edgeworth, your opening statement, please. In yesterday's session, the defense presented us with a new theory for this case. He claims that the scene of the crime was, in fact, Studio 2. Today, I will call on people present in the Studio 2 trailer that day. From their testimonies, the truth will become clear. Very well. Edgeworth seems a bit on edge today. You may call your first witness, Mr. Edgeworth. The prosecution calls Dee Vasquez to the stand. Ms. Dee Vasquez is a producer who was present in the Studio 2 trailer that day. Will the witness state her name and occupation? Dee Vasquez, I am a producer for Global Studios. On the day of the murder, you were in the trailer in Studio 2. As everyone here knows, yes? I dislike needless banter. If you must pontificate, do it when I'm not here. Very well, Miss Vasquez. Please give the court your testimony concerning the day of the murder. Nick, I know she did it. Make her pay. Right. If she's guilty, I'll catch her with her pants down, so to speak. Gotta love the little bit of humor Phoenix threw in there. Anyway, the day of the murder. I entered the trailer, a little before noon. The meeting began at 12 and ended at 4. There was to be a rehearsal afterwards, so we went to Studio 1. I was fatigued, so I had Saul take me. At 2:30, we took a 15-minute break in the meeting. Sal and I ate T-bone steaks on the table in front of the trailer. I really cannot decide between Saul and Sal. It's just too weird. We found Hammer's body later, and when we all went to Studio 1, that's all. I have a question about one part of your testimony. You were fatigued, so you had Sal take you? The van. There's a van at Studio 2. I had him take me in that. I thought it might be risky to walk with that monkey's head toppling over. So we have a van in our evidence now. This is the final battle, Nick. Let's do it. The day of the murder. Alright, so we're just gonna cut straight to the chase here. I believe, if I remember correctly, the one we need to press is right here. Sal and I ate T-bone steaks on the table in front of the trailer. We need to present the steak plate on this. Ha! As I thought. You claim you ate a T-bone steak, but I say you did not. What's this now, Mr. Wright? Look at this. It's a plate? The plate was on the table in the employee room. As you can see, a large bone has been left behind. Mr. Wright, need I remind you, it was a T-bone steak? Exactly my point. Remember, if you will, Miss Vasquez and Mr. Manila eat at a table outside of the trailer. Yet there were no bones left on the plates. The plates were bare. Miss Vasquez, tell me, how can a person eat a T-bone steak and not leave the bone? I think I know how. Alright, you ate the bone too. I could probably see Saul doing that, or Sal, or Saul, or, you know, whatever. I could see him doing that, but not her. You ate a boneless steak. I have no idea if those even exist, but a T-bone steak wouldn't exist. And you didn't eat the steak. This seems like the only reasonable option, but why wouldn't she eat the steak? Let's find out. You didn't eat any steak during that break. You took your steak and threw it somewhere, like that incinerator. I see. Then what was Miss Vasquez doing during her break? Isn't it obvious, Your Honor? Now, as much as it'd be awesome to stay picking on Salmonella, I think she was meeting a Steel Samurai. She was meeting with the Steel Samurai. Order! Are you saying? Yes, Your Honor. As Miss Vasquez left the trailer to eat her steak, she ran into the Steel Samurai, and then you did it. You killed him with your own hands. Mr. Wright, isn't that a little presumptuous? Presumptuous. I think that's how you pronounce that. Sheesh. What kind of stunt are you trying to pull, right? Let him claim what he wants. You say I did it? Yes. Fascinating. And here I was worrying that today would be as boring as all the rest. Very well. Let us have a battle of wits, you and I. I'd like it no other way. Good luck, Nick. Alright, Maya, give us our luck. Let's see. What was that murder weapon again? Oh yes, the samurai spear. Yes. I am, as you can see, a woman of petite stature. How could I possibly use that heavy spear as a weapon? Let's think about this for a minute. I think you could. No, she wouldn't be able to. I don't know. You know, with this big of a claim, if we said I don't know, we'd get a penalty really quick. So there's only one option here. You couldn't you? Or could you? Ugh. I think you would have a great deal of difficulty using that as a weapon. Pretty much anyone would. Ha! You see? Yes. However, that has no bearing on this case. Meaning? The samurai spear was not the murder weapon. Did Phoenix make a revelation? Let's find out. What is the meaning of this? The spear was found lying next to the victim's body. I have proof, Your Honor. I can prove that it was the samurai spear that was. I can prove that it wasn't the samurai spear used as a murder weapon. All right. Let's present the samurai spear. I present my proof, the so-called murder weapon. But that is the murder weapon. Not so fast. Remember that when that spear broke here in the morning action scene run-through? But someone fixed the spear. It was the security lady. She fixed it with duct tape. Now tell me, how is it possible for someone to stab a man who was wearing a thick costume with this through the chest? Order! Mr. Wright, what are you driving at? Think about what you're... Silence! I'm the one testifying here and I will be heard. She's feisty. Are you quite sane? Are you even aware of what you're saying? If the samurai spear was not the murder weapon, then pray, tell what it was. How was Hammer killed? Well, Mr. Wright, can you tell us what weapon was used to kill Mr. Hammer? I can tell you. Would I make a claim like that if I couldn't tell you what the weapon was? I'm afraid your confidence can sometimes be unfounded, Mr. Wright. Wow, way to kill the moment, Judge. Alrighty, so think about this for a minute before we move on. We have something in our inventory, in our court record here, that's going to turn this case around. Now, what is the way that someone else died here? I don't know, 5 years ago. Let's look at this. Look at this photo. What is this? Well, that's Jack Hammer standing at the top of the stairs. Order! If I cannot have order, this trial will be suspended. Mr. Wright, what is this all about? This photograph is from 5 years ago. There was an unfortunate accident at Global Studios. This is a photo of that very accident. Not a word of this was leaked to the outside. It was a close-kept secret at the studios. What does this have to do with the current case? Mr. Edgeworth, you still can't see it? See the fallen man in this photo? See how the fence post pierced him through the chest? What? Are you saying? Yes. What happened 5 years ago? Has happened again! Mr. Wright, continue! It's 2:30 p.m. on the day of the murder. Miss Vasquez meets Jack Hammer outside the Studio 2 trailer. Then she did it. She pushed Mr. Hammer off the stairs onto the fence. Just like Mr. Hammer had done himself 5 years ago. Though whether or not she did it by purpose or accident, I cannot say. In other words, the victim, Mr. Hammer, he died in the same way that he caused another man to die 5 years ago! Precisely. Ironic, isn't it? Very creative, Mr. Wright. I could use a man like you in my script writing staff. You deny that? Do you deny that what I say is true? Mr. Wright, let's say for the sake of argument that Hammer died at the trailer as you say. Yet the body was found at Studio 1, was it not? And in the evil magistrate's costume, no less. Are you claiming that I carried the body to Studio 1 and returned it to the trailer, all in the space of a 15-minute break? How could I have disposed of the body? The break in the meeting at the trailer lasted 15 minutes, from 2:30 to 2:45. Could Jack Hammer have been pushed off the stairs to his death, then carried to Studio 1 and placed inside his costume? There wasn't enough time. Indeed. Well, Mr. Wright, how could she have dealt with the body? Well, not that she could deal with it, because obviously she did, because something fishy went on here. I bet she could move it. Not in 15 minutes. But she did have another way. What if she had another way to carry the body, other than her own hands? For instance? Actually, for that matter, there was no need for her to do the deed in 15 minutes. And there was a way for you to carry that body. Interesting. Let's hear it then. Mr. Wright, please show us how she carried the body. Now, it's a piece of evidence that we got earlier in the trial. This van conveniently sitting outside of Studio 2. This van could have easily held a body. And she could have used this to transport it from Studio 2 to Studio 1. I believe we found our answer. Miss Vasquez, you carried the body to Studio 1, and you used the studio van to do it. Recall your testimony. There was to be a rehearsal afterwards, so we went to Studio 1. I was fatigued, so I had Sal take me. There was a van there, right? I had Sal drive me. You used the van to carry the body to Studio 1. Then, before everyone else got there, you put the body into the magistrate costume. There's no way Miss Vasquez could have done that alone. Also, don't forget that they had to dispose of the Steel Samurai costume. They had to because it was covered in Mr. Hammer's blood. They probably burned it in that small incinerator. Well, Miss Vasquez, shall I continue? No need. You're smarter than you look, Mr. Wright. I lose. You win. It was fun. I win?